Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Courtney Poulos has been kind enough to bless us with some of her time, share some of her experiences in real estate and being a brokerage owner. So I'll kick it right off to Courtney. I'll let her tell us a little bit about herself and her experience as a brokerage owner.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Jake. My name is Courtney Poulos. I'm the broker owner of Acme Real Estate in Los Angeles and the co-founder of Acme Florida in Orlando, Florida. And I've been in the business for over 20 years, which is crazy to say because I'm still so young. And I've been a broker since 2011. I love our industry and I see it changing kind of rapidly right now. So I'm excited to get into it.
Absolutely. Well, and take us back, to 2011. What was kind of your first, foot in the door as far as, I guess probably in real estate prior, I would imagine. What was kind of the first foot in the door as far as, really wanting to, and, making that first step into ownership?
Well, I'm not alone in that I had a million jobs before I got into real estate. Real estate always seemed out of reach for me. I came from a lower middle class family in Pennsylvania. We never owned a house. Nobody taught me about money. I moved to LA in 1997 to be an actor and a singer. And to do those things, you have to work like many jobs, So yeah. I always had 3 jobs, always. And right around 2004, my husband and I moved to DC. He wasn't my husband at the time, my ex-husband now. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point of the story is we moved there and I got a job working for the federal government. I worked for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Disaster Technical Assistance Center of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh, geez. That'd be a big title on the desk.
Huge. It was abbreviated SAMHSA DTAC. But let me tell you, with all the things that are coming up in the news right now about the federal government and how inefficient it is, I actually have like a personal story about that. So I was working there as an editor. I went to college for public relations and journalism, and I was working as an editor. Okay. And my boss actually came over to my desk and said, "Courtney, you're working too fast and too efficiently. Can you slow down so we can bill the government more hours?" And when she said that, I knew I had to quit. I knew I couldn't work in that environment. Like the people, besides it being so fluorescent, alcoholic, depressing, nobody was truly happy and you had no freedom. So I went from being very free in LA with multiple jobs and running around all the time, but being kind of broke, to being in DC with a real job, a grown-up job. And I'm like, wow, this is for the birds. Like they treat you like children. And now she's telling me, she's mandating that I be inefficient. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I answered it. What'd you say?
I said that'd make the day go by slow. Like having to purposely slow yourself. Oh man, that would kill me.
The idea of being a grown person and having somebody tell me that I can't like skip my lunch break and leave an hour early if I wanted to is ridiculous to me. I'm not a child, It's like, it's based on time, like how much time you spend as opposed to output.
Yeah.
And that is a model that does not work for me. So maybe some people want to actually spend 40 hours of their living, breathing week under fluorescent lights being told to go slower. But not me. So I answered an ad and met this amazing lady named Polly Driscoll, who was a real estate veteran and very, very close to retirement when I was her apprentice, her last assistant. And what it really instilled in me was the importance of learning how to do this job. Like this job that we are so trusted with is not something you just get your license and all of a sudden you're able to do. Polly was like a mentor, but also taught me the business of the business part, the part where you build your own business. Yeah. And always treated me like a CEO in training. And this I can't even like love her enough for, because it changed my life. So, a lot of people come to real estate from different businesses, different jobs and careers. And, you kind of can apply a bunch of things that you've done in the past to your real estate career. Oh, yeah. But It's so important to actually learn what you're doing, the real job, the liability part, read the contract, like learn how to do your accounting for your taxes, like basic, simple stuff. But you can't learn that unless somebody teaches you.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it can be very difficult, especially there's I'm sure a lot of brokerage owners out there that didn't really have maybe, or maybe they did have a mentor, maybe they weren't the best at showing them the ropes. So it can be huge. There's no like really roadmap or like how to when you get your brokerage license. So it's definitely a big it can be a big learning curve. Being able to.
Where exactly are you in the world?
So I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. We host the podcast and everything for Modern Day Brokerage. We host it out of Allen's independent brokerage. So I don't know why that word escaped me for a second, but his independent brokerage out here in Phoenix, Arizona.
So do you call regular real estate agents, do you call them brokers there?
No, I think that's more, can't talk. That's more of a New York thing, I think, is the only place I've really heard that.
A couple states, some places in Pacific Northwest also do. And
I know New York's really big on it. Yeah, it can be a little confusing, but no, I didn't mean to be confused. No, so Alan's brokerage here, like in Phoenix, he has over 400 agents here. And so that's really based the podcast to get kind of get more stories out there, that light at the end of the tunnel story, so to speak. For some of our members just in the group and that are in the scaling brokerage community. And then also, for kind of different ways for different ways for brokerage owners to see how, others are attracting agents, or how others, came about in their career. So it's just a good way to get, different stories out there to our members.
Love it. It is a community, and, we all do share certain hurdles. And certain victories. That's it's a great business because it can tie in your personality. I always say, and I've trademarked this so you can't use it, it's a great job for the customer service oriented narcissist, and that's really what we are. We experience our victory when our clients have a victory. It's this reciprocal thing, and I love that about our business, and I'm happy to share as much as I have learned. I've really been a do-it-yourself case study. After working for her for a few years in DC, I worked at Coldwell Banker. I worked at this boutique agency called DC Living, and it was just such a great experience being at a tiny brokerage. I loved it. And then I moved back to LA, and I couldn't find that community anywhere. I really couldn't find any place that felt like a startup and had that, I don't know, small team vibe. I just really wanted that. I wanted authenticity. It felt very hollow. It felt very shallow, realistic, all the things that you think of whenever you think of like LA. And nobody wanted to let me in. I had already been selling for 5 years. I'm like, why won't anyone give me like a little opportunity? No, there was just no opportunity to even apprentice under someone in LA. I admittedly didn't try too hard. Once I tried a couple times and kind of got the shut down, I realized people were very territorial. That's when sorry, there's a little background noise. That's when I decided I was going to start my own brokerage. There was a little bit more to it. I joined another brokerage, and I was a top performer at that brokerage, and I had to do that thing where you negotiate your splits with the manager. And I just felt like, I'm so tired of asking men for my money. I just want to not be ever in this situation again. Like, I'm doing a great job. I want more of my money. He said, no, that doesn't work for him. And I was out. So that was the origin. We're Acme. My company is really a rebel brand. We have made our name in our area as being a quality of life brokerage. We're not the trophy, sales stats, mandatory requirements kind of brokerage. I know some people thrive in that environment. That really helps them achieve their goals. For the agents at Acme, I say we're more like a pack of lone wolves. It has really everybody is the CEO of their own business kind of vibe. And I share as much as I can with the agents on how they can create their own empires. And that means that they would know how to do everything from start to finish. So if they ever want to maybe leave LA and go somewhere else, they would know how to do that job anywhere in the country that they want to go. So for me, it's about independence and about kind of being able to turn on a dime, to market without asking corporate for permission. Are you hearing the dogs barking in the background?
Yeah, no, you're fine. It's not bad at all. I can hear you over it. You're fine.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
You're all right. If they get really bad or if they get closer and it's kind of distracting, you can just pause for a second too, and they can cut out certain portions of it.
Yeah, if any of that is unusable and you need to
Oh no,
edit
you're good. No, you're fine. No, it wasn't bad at all. I could barely, like the very last couple barks. I kind of understood what it was, but it just sounded like kind of just some background noise. It's nothing crazy.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Acme Real Estate, it's definitely become a leader in Northeast LA and in South LA in delivering really high quality renovation resale houses. So we work with a lot of designers and renovators on the listing side, and we do regular resales also, but we've made our name in selling really, really pretty houses. That's what we do.
That's awesome.
Of course, we love first-time home buyers. So I've built my business on first-time home buyers who graduate to move up buyers. And, because of what Polly taught me on how to nurture long-term relationships with your client, not to just focus on the one deal. I feel like we've been really lucky to say that 90% of our business is either repeat business or referral business. And I know that some people say that, and I don't know if everybody really means it, but we really mean it.
I love it. I love it when that definitely means you're doing something right. If they keep coming back and they're sending friends and family and, anyone that's asking about a realtor to you as well, that's a great sign, right? That they're coming back. But awesome. Well, and kind of, I know we touched on a little bit more about, getting started, as a brokerage owner, in the industry as a whole. Tell us a little bit about, since opening up there in 2011, have you faced anything that, any struggles, anything that you felt like really slowed you down or maybe held you back to where you wanted to get to?
Well, 100% the market and the industry has changed so much since I started. At the beginning, when I started Acme, the distinction between an agent and a broker was very clear. So by me being a broker and not just an agent, I had a competitive advantage, but then what happened is companies started allowing super teams or teams that were larger than just 2-person teams. Like at the time, you really would rarely see a 4 or 6-person team. Now there are teams of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
But at that time, that didn't exist. So as a broker, it was like you have a PhD, and I was able to compete that way. Now I see, and this is something that has been for the past probably 8 years, maybe, these teams call themselves, like the head of the team lead is going to call himself a founder. I'm like, you're not founding anything. You didn't found your company. You can't found a team. You're not a CEO of a team that has a bit like a broker and a CEO of the company. It's just bullshit. But the consumer doesn't know.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
That little edge, I think, has been diminished, and that's, things change. So, that's always something that we have to clarify for people and try to advise people and reestablish our edge on. But that's one thing that I would say was a challenge. Also, having Redfin and Zillow publishing the listings, the MLS listings online, was a new thing back then. It definitely didn't feel like everyone had access to everything all the time. Back in the day when I started, inventory was really in my domain, and I was the gatekeeper for that. And I think our association didn't do a very good job of protecting all of us from an independent data tech company creating something that would essentially market our listings with the pictures we paid for to unrepresented buyers and then pick those buyers up. I don't think anyone saw it coming. And then imagine that online company would establish itself as a brokerage and then compete with us in our own market using our own images. What the hell happened? It's like crazy. So, these things have been challenges. Now, thank goodness there have been some changes that have been made to require listing agent information, but it's a little too late. the damage is kind of done. And our industry, as you know, has clear cooperation still as a major hurdle, which gives a crazy advantage to big brokerages and
Yeah.
disadvantage to brokerages like mine. I've been fighting against clear cooperation since it came out. All these lawsuits that have cost people so many millions of dollars are all about mandatory entry. So, that's something that's been like a major hurdle. So, we're always the underdog. We're always the high quality boutique that is fighting to be for equality in a industry that is controlled by bureaucracy and really big brokerages with deep pockets. And now there's so much conversation still around clear cooperation, and NAR still hasn't done anything about it. It's absolutely insane. So these are the hurdles we face when it comes to delivering the highest quality marketing. Have you been on our website?
So I did open it up here, but I didn't peek around too much. I was right from one podcast to another.
Okay, listen, we've had weeks to prepare for this, but you should know who you're talking to. Did you Google me? Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just pulled it up right here. I'm the Acme Real Estate.
You can edit all that out. I'm just kidding. My only reason for asking that is because, we are established as one of the most cutting edge marketing wise brokerages in LA. Like even the big boys come to our open houses and they're like, wow, we love what you do. And it is special and it does mean a lot to us. And we constantly have to be able to innovate, turn on a dime, change things. We just did a major overhaul, logo overhaul, brand overhaul, to align more with what's happening with trends, color stories. I approach the house marketing like product marketing. So that's our edge. Well, anyway, to say I have a reputation for speaking my mind about these things. And several years ago, I actually really did bring these concerns up in a very public way. And, I don't think our association was really ready to hear it yet. And now when you see the consequence of clear cooperation, even our whole entire industry's protocols being kind of turned on their head, you realize these are valid concerns. So, for us as smaller brokerages, as independent brokerages, like we have to make our voices heard. We cannot give up, because if we do, we are going to be consumed by this great consolidation that's happening right now. It's like a lot of big brokerages are just gobbling up other brokerages, and it's turning into a one size fits all kind of jam.
Yeah, and like I know like EXP and LTP have been really big ones over the past few years. Like, starting from being like pretty tiny and kind of corner markets to really being all over the place now. So yeah, there's other. I mean, not even just the the standard brick and mortar brokerages, but then the revenue shares and kind of cloud based ones as well.
That's a good point.
They're taking up another really big percentage also. So, it's constant competition. No matter where you're at, no matter what market you're in, always competition.
Definitely. Yeah. I like competition. I'm totally here for it. I'm like, let's go. You'll never be in an industry that doesn't have some competition, right? It's coming at some point. But I guess the question we all have to ask ourselves is, if we're not performing at the brokerage that we're at, is it the brokerage that we're at that's the problem, or is it us? And I think that real estate agents, once they find something that works, they get stuck sometimes. Like they think I've sent out postcards for the past 10 years and I always get listing appointments. Now I'm sending out postcards and I get none, but I'm going to keep sending out these postcards, even though it's not working, and bang my head against a wall saying I have no business.
It's definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
It is, but change is hard, and there's so much changing around us. Think about the change, honestly, just to speak to the procedural changes after
NAR last year.
That was huge for our industry. I like the changes. I've always a buyer agency person. I actually am not mad at it. And I think that it gives us an opportunity to establish ourselves even a little bit more in terms of our value with our
Yeah.
clients. Like we can say, I've been in the business for 20 years, therefore this is my fee. Like I can even charge
Yeah.
more than a pre-negotiated fee by a listing agent. Like I get to say something about my value, which I do love. And I think that it holds the clients accountable, it holds me accountable, and maybe offers a bit of distinction in terms of experience that wasn't there before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And that's something like a couple of our group members that are in Canada, like when it was happening last year and everyone was really kind of freaking out about it. They mentioned like, hey guys, like it's going to be okay. Like this is how it's been over here for 20 plus years.
oh yeah.
So I know that was something that kind of settled some people down there like, oh man, they never knew that. Not many of us have to do any transactions, past the border up north. So no, yeah, it was actually something that definitely, I mean, even for myself kind of made me like relax a little bit. Like, oh, it's, the world's not on fire. Everything's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's going to be fine. But also, this is good. It's good. It's actually good. But what I don't love about it is that the policies problems are still on the table. The NAR has not gotten rid of clear cooperation. There's still this lopsided thing. And now some of the companies that I would say probably have benefited the most by creating large off-market MLSs in-house are making big public statements that, if you read between the lines, look something like veiled, I don't know, maybe veiled threats to leave NAR. I'm not sure. I don't want to put that out there, but you'll see things like, there was definitely a big public push from some big brokerage leaders like Mauricio Umansky at the agency saying like, we believe that clear cooperation policy should be dead, and we agree, but it's almost like the damage has been done,
Yeah, like you said, yeah, it's hard once they've made that and let it stay in effect for so long to go back and kind of take it back and reset.
Yeah. So now what happens? We have to ask ourselves when we look to the future of what real estate holds for us as we move forward, we have to incorporate AI. And I think there are a lot of awesome AI tools. I've started a podcast. Let me try that one more time. I didn't start a podcast. It's not a podcast. I started a YouTube channel where I'm allowing people to join me on a ride through experiencing real estate AI apps as I go through them like an ordinary realtor might, not like an AI tech enthusiast might.
Yeah, someone who speaks the language a little bit.
Well, we all actually are in the business of selling real estate, right? So like that's what we do. We're not like I'm sorry, I'm in my 40s. Like I'm not the person who wants to spend 4 hours navigating all the special settings of a thing. I don't have time for that. So I'm looking at what's that?
I said it can be confusing too. Like even I'm 24 and I get like some of the like the dialers and different things that they that we can use kind of on the back end side, like to help us get more in front of more real estate deals. They could be like more complicated sometimes than just picking up your phone and typing it in.
Oh yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, right? There's so much we could automate, but let's be honest. Some of these tools are like trash. Some of them are just so bad. Okay, we can have an AI cold calling robot, right? But when I get AI robo cold calls, I hang up on these people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, almost immediately.
They don't work.
Yeah, and the AI definitely for the calling side can be a little bit more sparsely used. But yeah, for the texting, it can be great. I know they have a lot of AIs now that kind of like take in like all of your conversations that you've had like with friends, family, whatever, for the past couple of years. Who knows what they do with it, but they take all that into account, and then it can kind of enact and talk very similarly to how you do. So they are obviously getting better and better as we go
that's
along.
the AI I don't want that creepy AI.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I don't know what it does with all the information it takes in over the however long you give it your text for. But it does work very well. It does, it is able to, pretty much enact like a very similar conversation to what I would if I was texting myself.
Right.
So definitely can be.
I don't want the AI to pretend to be me. I don't want the AI to be able to do my Instagram posts for me. Why would I make myself useless? Like I'm not doing that. What I like about AI is for the real places where our own human capacity would be largely challenged to get such a specific result. I'll give you an example. If you're doing a CMA for a client And you know that because of certain brokerages selling a lot of properties off market, if this AI can actually look at the property data records, it's going to pick up a lot of sales that weren't on the MLS. And therefore, your CMA may be more accurate because this tool has the ability to look at all the data, not just the data that's on MLS or Redfin or Zillow or whatever. It might be able to look at property tax records or public records.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, and I was thinking more on the side of the like outreach AI, but no, definitely having someone on the back end to like make sure our system, or either keep our system in place, make sure that our systems are accurate. Like it could be huge day to day, saving us a lot of time on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much on the horizon. I would never want to look too much at the past, because even right now, as I'm talking about like the difference between brokerages and teams and that thing, even that feels antiquated. Like nobody cares. The bottom line is sellers want to have a low interference, high output experience, right? They don't want static. They want predictable outcomes. So expectation setting is a huge part of our job. Now more than ever, when the markets are funky with 7% interest rates and it's not moving as fast as it was like post-COVID or whatever, things aren't the same. So you do need to be able to be accurate in your CMAs and be able to provide some data. Okay, I know where this buyer is getting their media from. Okay. Well, Courtney, are you going to advertise in the paper? No, Bob, I'm not going to advertise in the paper. I'm going to tell you why. I did a analysis using AI on who the buyer is for your particular property and what media outlets they're actually looking at. They're looking at TikTok, they're looking at Instagram, and they're looking at this site or some other site. They're looking at the LAist or, some local blog or something like that. That's where they're getting their real estate market. So that's where I'm going to spend my money. Are you okay with that? Like we can do one better, and we can have a competitive advantage if we know how to make the AI not replace us, not make my conversations happen for me. I don't want that. I want to have my conversation. I need my voice. It's like the one unique and invaluable thing I will always have. But what I do want it to do is I want it to help me with the things that I'm not. I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you if you're doing a 1031 exchange and you're thinking of buying in Phoenix versus Tampa, Florida, which one of these two individual properties is going to have the least Airbnb restrictions and the highest year over year return on investment for your 1031 exchange. And if you say, Courtney, I want to do two of them, okay, let's compare these two and ask ChatGPT or some other AI to do an analysis of what the highest return will be using the amount I have for my 1031 to put down, like for our down payment percentages. How about that? Like it's genius that way. It's genius that way because that's math that I can't math. Like that's the stuff that that would take a long time.
I was going to say, I hear you. I'd be there for a while.
Yeah. So I'm really super excited about AI in real estate and how it's going to help us with all kinds of things, including recruitment and expansion. And I know that's a concern to your audience, right? How do you grow?
Yeah, and that's where I was segue great into the next question. I was just going to ask, do you do anything like on the recruiting side? Do you guys do anything to attract more agents to yourself or to the business there?
So it's an excellent question. I've been in the business long enough to have gone through many cycles of recruiting. There was a time when I was like, you know what, I'm not going to recruit. Whoever's attracted can come. And that worked for a while. And then I thought, you know what, I do want to get a little bit bigger. So I created a training program for new licensees. We'd have 10 people per class called Agent Ascent, an amazing program, really the best agent training in Los Angeles. Okay. Amazing training. And then guess what I realized? People who haven't sold real estate have no idea what the heck I'm talking about.
Yeah. Do need a targeted audience, most definitely.
They probably got 25% of what I was even talking about. They had no point of reference. But you live and you learn. So over time, you realize, okay, I'm not recruiting just to recruit. Okay. We're not Keller Williams or one of these bigger brokerages or EXP, for example, or whoever that has an incentive for having more bodies. For
Yeah.
me, more bodies doesn't mean a better brokerage. For me, having the right bodies is what's important. And so we do organic law of attraction type of soft recruiting, if you want to call it that, where people who are either referred to us or are missing something, who don't love the big box experience, who want to be
Yeah.
at a small brokerage that feels more like a team or a startup. It has that kind of young vibe energy. So those are the people who come to us and who we attract and who we're nurturing. We have a 5-deal minimum now. So we are not taking any new agents. We're not training any new agents. We want people to make sure this is the business they want to be in, and have them have filled out a few contracts before they get to us.
I love it. I love it. Well, no, and I mean, depending on the case, obviously, in some markets, maybe we don't have a lot of options as who like our new agents we could bring in could be. But you being in such a large market, you really do have the the availability to pick and choose past just to fit in the culture. Making sure they're going to fit us, production wise. Obviously the culture as well. So I don't know already mentioned that, but yeah, making sure they're going to be a good fit for the team as well.
Yeah, it's the model though. Honestly, it's like, how is your algorithm? As a broker, you look at the business differently than you do when you're an agent. So as a broker, you're looking at where am I making money? Where am I losing money? And it's classic traditional broker algorithm that you don't make a lot of money on new agents, but you make more money per transaction on new agents. So even if this person has their license for 2 years and only closes one deal, you might be making 50 or 60% on that first deal. Whereas with the top producers, you're making much less per transaction. Sometimes the splits are 10%. So, they're selling more, but you're making so much less. So, you have to balance. So the real place where most brokerages make money is on the mid-level producers. But guess what? Those are also the most hotly recruited ones.
Yeah.
So when big brokerages lose bodies because of interest rates, or I don't know, the market slows down, people get out of the business, they get aggressive about recruiting. And sometimes those deals seem too good to be true. I understand it, but it's a broker's job to figure out how to always be providing some unique quality, whether it's the people, and that's a huge part of it, or even just the lack of overkill when it comes to the administrative part. Not every agent wants to be bombarded by their broker update emails every 3 seconds. New webinar, new meeting, new map. Oh my God, I just, I'm trying to live my life.
Yeah.
So, with Acme, we keep a focus on the client experience and we keep it streamlined on the back end. We could probably, in fact, go virtual if we wanted to. That's how clean it is. We don't have to be brick and mortar, but we are brick and mortar, but we don't have to be. We are perfectly equipped to be light on our feet so we can maintain our profitability during challenging market conditions. So I'm proud to say that we've successfully done that in Los Angeles. We've actually, instead of scaling this way, we've actually pared down our team in order to keep providing higher quality service to the mid-level producers and to be able to attend to all of the things that they need, like new apps, new programs, new tech, whatever they need. In Florida, however, it's different. So in Orlando, we are in major expansion mode. We just bought a brand new building. We have 10 agents there right now, and we are looking to expand probably to about the size of 30 by the end of next year. So we're excited to start interviewing. We're just waiting for the final touches to be put on our building. And then we are going to be having a career fair over there.
I love it.
Florida markets are booming. It's exciting and fun.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Just curious, you're still living in California primarily, correct?
Yeah, I go back and forth between California. Primarily LA,
I was going to ask what caused you to, besides obviously, the opportunity of, with the market being on fire, probably not the best word to use there.
Why did I open in Florida?
Yeah.
Sure. So there is an agent, lots of reasons, both personal and professional. So during COVID, I started a love story, and that person just happens to be in Orlando. But also, while I was in Orlando, I met up with a gal named Heather Unger, who had a brokerage called Lemon Tree, and it was a very successful boutique little brokerage. And we went out for lunch, and she said, I've watched Acme for over a decade. I see you at Inman. I love what you do. Maybe there's a partnership opportunity here. And I was like, yeah. And once I saw that we were so aligned, and that yet we could also kind of fill in the blanks. So I have no experience selling real estate in Florida, and I can offer her some marketing support and kind of that other part. She really loves the admin. Yeah. So we realized that there was a kinship there, and it's been really great. The only thing is that post-COVID, we didn't have a proper, you got to have a brick and mortar in Florida, I think. Yeah. It's just really important for people to commune, and, they don't have to fight so much traffic to get to the office every day. So anyway, so we bought a building, and that was about 2 years ago, and it's taken this long to get it through permitting and get the renovations done and whatever. So we're really excited to expand and finally get it truly off and running. But Heather is a master of real estate, her own. We've been in the business the same amount of time. She sells the top luxury listings in the Orlando market. We won the Orlando Magazine 2025 Home Design of the Year Award, which is exciting. Really? Yeah, so we're continuing to get more visibility in Orlando, and who knows, I might open South Florida at some point too.
I don't blame anywhere that has a beach, right?
Anywhere that has a beach, please. Yes, please. Yeah, the awesome. Florida market's so hot, and the people continue to come to Florida for the quality of life. It really is a special place. I think it's very well run.
I know there's so many different avenues. Just talking to someone from Florida here, I think it was, I apologize, this morning or towards the end of yesterday. But they mentioned that a lot of their client base is like, people coming in and out that don't really ever live there full time, but they'll come stay there for 6 months at a time, 8 months at a time, either getting away from their winters or just coming there for the summer of being in Florida, being in Miami. So yeah, there's definitely some a lot of opportunity, and then a lot of unique opportunities out there in Florida as well.
Yeah. And a lot of really great real estate, and for a design or renovation brand, there's a new, because of all the people who have come from New York and California to Florida, I think there's a renewed demand for high quality design in Florida, which is a great opportunity for us because that's our forte, and that's what we're obsessed with. So.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, and tell us a little bit about, I know you mentioned, all the things you're rolling out this year. I know 2025 just started. 2030 sounds a bit like the future. 5 years from now, what would you like to look back and see yourself have accomplished, in California and Florida, everywhere there?
Gosh, that's deep, Jake. I don't know. Part of me, I think I can say I just want to see the people that have spent their careers at Acme thriving, succeeding, happy. And myself personally, I see myself turning to coaching a lot more. I'm already in the process of creating a coaching business for people like me, for independent broker owners who are a little bit of a fight the system, don't like to do things the traditional way, are entitled to their voice, but maybe banging their head about how to create their own niche in their market. So that's coming soon.
That's awesome.
That, in addition to the AI stuff, and I'm going to be probably leaning into coaching, and kind of it'll allow me to move around the country a bit more, which is what I love. So yeah, that's what I see for me in the future. And I know Acme is going to flourish everywhere that it is. We have amazing leadership. I have 2 brokers on the ground in Los Angeles, and then Heather runs Florida in Orlando. And then if we open another one, then I'm sure we'll install another broker on the ground. So I see myself as kind of, gradually graduating to more of a supervisory position as opposed to on the ground sales.
I got you, kind of taking the back seat a little bit more than, the big boots on the ground.
Friend. It is not a back seat. I just can't be everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said, a little bit more, but it's still just put it on.
There's no back seat in real estate. Yeah. You can put a trademark on that. There's no back seat in real estate, my friend. You have to know your shit. You have to know your contracts. You have to be able to actually advise, which means you can't really just Oh, hold on one second. There's a baby banging on the door. Sorry. Let me just add. And actually, I probably do have to run soon here. I think
you're right. Yeah, the only thing I had left for you was just some advice for new brokerage owners.
Okay.
Anything that you tell them that getting started in like today's market? Sorry.
Can
you please get her? I'm literally recording a podcast.
I know
I know she comes back here, but I just need you to get her, please. I'm almost done.
I had her.
Thank you. Okay, bye. Okay. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. I'll restart there. So that is one of the last questions I had for you. Was just what would be your advice for a new brokerage owner? Someone getting started in today's market.
The most important thing that a broker owner can do if they're just getting started is to do a really deep analysis on your competition and figure out what your unique value proposition is and lean really hard into it. And I think the mistake that a lot of brokerages and even agents make is we don't go to the source to get that information. We don't actually market test our logos or market test our marketing materials on actual prospective buyers and sellers to see what it is they really care about, what it is they really want, and what they want out of a real estate agent that's different than what they've experienced somewhere else. If you're becoming a broker owner, but you're just going to end up doing the exact same thing, it's going to be a failed enterprise. You might as well just be a team leader somewhere else. There's no reason to put yourself through this if you don't have a unique vision and something really specific to offer people that's different. You know, it's just, you've got to figure out where your unique value proposition really is.
Absolutely. And it can be and that's one great thing about real estate is it can be, so different from case to case. I don't know why I just zoomed in on me there. It can be so different from case to case, or, from person to person, where one person finds their niche might be, totally different than someone else. But, we can also,
as a brokerage, definitely true with agents. Every agent is different. Every person is different, but brokerage messaging is different than agent messaging. You have to create a concept for your brokerage. Why would I choose to go with an agent at your firm over someone else? Is it because you love puppies and I love puppies and you're the puppy loving brokerage? Is it because you only sell in Bungalow Heaven, this like 4-block, this is your domain and I only want a specialist that sells in that domain? Or is it, something like we align, like, we're Democrats for life and you're the Democratic brokerage, or we're Republican, I don't know, I'm just up. But it's like people choose people who they feel are competent, but not just competent, who are aligned with them in some way. So what is it that you align with people on in a public facing way that would have you be distinctive? For us, it's that we market really pretty houses. So we have major quality control on our listing, like the way we present our photos, our visuals, our aesthetics. We've poured a lot of money into brand. And that's what distinguishes us. So people who come to us are attracted to us because of the alignment with the brand. And how do we do that? We study what kind of candles our clients are buying, what kind of fashion products. Now let's look at what their Instagram looks like. Now look what their fonts they're using for that type of perfume. We need to be aligned. What's the color for West Elm this season? Whatever. So that you can, what people are already being sold, and your marketing complements. You're not standing out here as this bizarre outlier. 1990s template that you got off Canva that doesn't look at all distinctive or unique. I love Canva. I didn't mean to say Canva. Sorry, Canva. I didn't mean that to you, Canva. I meant like just templates, you've got to come up with something more unique. And that's it. Figure out what it is you have to offer and see how you can lean into it as a brokerage.
Absolutely. And something that you've seen, you guys, in California and in Florida, are starting to in Florida, seem to do a really well job at. So I'm really happy for you guys. And I'm really excited that sounds like an awesome next couple of years for, getting in a new market, having, some new offices open up. So that sounds like it's going to be really exciting for you over there. Let the people know if they're in California, if they're in Florida, or, anywhere in between, where can they find you at?
Sure. So you can find us on Instagram at Acme Real Estate or at Acme Florida. My personal Instagram is Courtney and Lala. And the YouTube channel where I'm doing the real estate app reviews is at Real Estate AI Coach.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'll make sure we have all that listed down below there in the comments. So if you guys are interested in anything that Courtney talked about throughout the podcast, we'll have it linked down below for you. And I know you mentioned, kind of running short on time, and that it was a little bit of a longer one. But I appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us here today, Courtney.
Cool. Thank you, Jake. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye out there. Good luck making your brokerage.